Look, let me guess. You work hard, you earn money, maybe even a decent amount, but somehow at the end of the month, you're still wondering where it all went. You've tried saving, you've thought about investing, maybe you even bought a few random things people told you would make you rich, and yet nothing really changed. Here's the thing. Most people don't stay broke because they don't earn enough. They stay broke because they invest in the wrong things, or worse, they don't invest at all. And what's crazy is this. If you had invested just $300 a month into the right assets starting 5 years ago, you'd likely have over $25,000 today. Not from luck, not from crypto hype, just from understanding a few simple principles. But instead, most people put their money into liabilities disguised as assets and then wonder why they're stuck. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 investments that actually make people rich. Not the flashy ones, not the ones you see on TikTok, but the ones that quietly build wealth over time. And trust me, number 5 is the one almost nobody talks about, but it might be the most important. My name is Noble, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people build real, lasting wealth. If you're someone who feels like you're working hard but not getting ahead financially, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because once you understand this, you'll never look at money the same way again. Investment number 1, the stock market, but not the way you think. All right, let's start with the obvious one, the stock market. Now you might be thinking, yeah, I've heard this before, buy stocks, get rich, but here's what most people don't realize. The average person loses money in the stock market, not because the market is bad, but because their behavior is terrible. They buy when things are going up because of hype, and they sell when things crash because of fear. Meanwhile, the wealthy, they do the exact opposite. Here's a stat that should wake you up. The S&P 500 has returned about 10% annually on average over the last several decades. That means if you invested $500 a month consistently for 20 years, you'd have roughly $380,000. Let that sink in. Not millions overnight, but real, steady wealth. And here's where it gets really interesting. Most of that money doesn't come from your contributions, it comes from compound interest. So what should you actually do? Forget trying to pick the next big stock. Instead, focus on low-cost index funds. Set up automatic investments, ignore the noise. Because wealth in the stock market isn't about being smart, it's about being consistent. Investment number 2, skills that increase your income. Now this one is completely underrated, and honestly, it's the fastest way to change your financial life, investing in your skills. Look, everyone wants to invest money, but nobody wants to invest in themselves. Here's what most people don't realize. Your income is your greatest wealth-building tool. Let's say you earn $1,000 a month and you save 20%. That's $200 invested. But if you increase your income to $2,000 a month and still save 20%, now you're investing $400. You just doubled your investment power. No stock, no crypto, just skills. And the data backs this up. People who consistently upskill in high-income areas like tech, sales, or business see income growth of 50 to 200% over a few years. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but learning new skills is hard. Exactly. That's why most people don't do it. But the ones who do, they separate themselves financially for life. So ask yourself, what skill, if you mastered it, could double your income? That's your investment. Investment number 3. Owning a business, even a small one. This is where things start to shift from slow growth to real wealth acceleration. Owning a business. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have money to start a business. But here's the truth. Most modern businesses don't require huge capital. You can start a service business, an online store, or even a content brand with relatively low upfront cost. And here's why this matters. When you own a business, you're no longer trading time for money. You're building a system that can generate income without you. Let's break this down. If you work a job, your income is capped by your time. But if you own a business that makes $100 a day, that's $3,000 a month. Scale it to $500 a day, that's $15,000 a month. Same 24 hours, completely different outcome. And this is where it gets really interesting. Businesses also give you tax advantages, leverage, and scalability, things you simply don't get as an employee. Now, is it risky? Yes, but not learning how to build income streams, that's riskier. Investment number 4, real estate, used strategically. All right, let's talk about real estate. This is one of the most traditional ways people build wealth, but again, most people approach it the wrong way. They buy houses they can't afford, call it an investment, and then struggle with the payments. That's not investing, that's stress. Here's what most people don't realize. Real estate becomes powerful when it produces cash flow. For example, let's say you buy a rental property. The rent covers your mortgage, maintenance, and expenses, and still leaves you with $200 profit per month. That's $2,400 a year. But here's the kicker. You're also building equity and benefiting from property appreciation. So you're making money in 3 ways: monthly cash flow, property value increase, and loan being paid off over time. And over 10 to 15 years, that adds up fast. Now, you might be thinking, I can't afford property. And that's fair. But there are creative ways: partnerships, house hacking, starting small. Because the goal isn't to own the biggest property, it's to own income-producing assets. Investment number 5, your mindset and financial discipline. This is the one nobody wants to hear because it's not exciting, it's not flashy, but it's the foundation of everything: your mindset. Look, you can have the best investments in the world, but if you don't have discipline, you'll lose everything. Here's a harsh truth. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a behavior problem. They earn more and spend more. They invest, then panic and sell. They say they want wealth, but their daily habits say otherwise. And this is where it gets really interesting. Wealth isn't built in big decisions, it's built in small, repeated ones. Saving consistently, investing regularly, delaying gratification. Let me give you a simple example. If you spend $10 a day on things you don't really need, that's $300 a month. Invest that instead at a 10% return, and in 20 years, that's over $200,000 from just not spending. That's not about money, that's about discipline. Bringing it all together. So let's connect the dots. The 5 investments that make people rich are the stock market through consistency, skills through income growth, businesses through scalability, real estate through cash flow, and mindset through discipline. And here's what most people don't realize. It's not about choosing just one. The real power comes from combining them all. You increase your income through skills, you invest that income into stocks, you use those returns to start a business or invest in real estate, and all of it is held together by your mindset. That's how wealth is actually built. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no secret, no shortcut, no magic investment, just principles. And the difference between people who build wealth and those who don't is simple. One group acts on this information. The other group just watches videos like this and does nothing. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these investments, just one, and take action this week. Open that investment account, start learning that skill, save your first $100. Do something. Because a year from now, you'll either be glad you started or you'll wish you did. And trust me, you don't want to be in the second group. I'll see you in the next video.